it's me, Courtney, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna do another Throwback Thursday where we are going to test out an overly hyped product from back in the day. I guess it's back in the day. I'm not exactly sure when this foundation came out. We are talking about the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear Foundation. I know that they recently upgraded their shade range, if I'm not mistaken. So they now have 45 shades. I am in the shade 460 Suede W, which I believe stands for warm. This foundation is $47 for 1 ounce, so it is on like the higher end of the spectrum, definitely, which is to be expected. Lancome is one of those higher end brands, I guess. To me, this is one of those foundations that sort of gets put on the same playing field as like the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, which is one of my holy grails. I'm gonna use a Real Technique sponge today, and I'm gonna start off on one side of my face. Alright, so as you can see, it does give a pretty nice amount of coverage. Alright, so that is without foundation, and this is with foundation with the sponge. It is like a hair too dark, but again, I'm always down for a darker foundation, you guys know that. Now I'm going to take my brush. This is a BH Cosmetics number 3 regular foundation brush. Honestly, I like how the sponge went on a little bit better. It just feels like it sort of went into the skin a little bit smoother. It feels a little bit more natural, whereas the brush side feels a little bit more cakey. I'm gonna take my Real Technique sponge and try to sort of pat out all that extra like cake feelingness. I will say that it does feel comfortable, but it does feel more comfortable on the side that I use the sponge versus this side. For some reason, this side just feels a little heavy. I find it interesting because it does say that it is like a velvety matte finish, which to me, it looks a little bit more dewy. Every time that I've tried this foundation, I don't necessarily get a matte feel. And even now, it feels a little bit, sticky is not the word, but it's like you can feel it. Like it's not necessarily like sticky, like I don't feel icky or anything like that. If I wanted to go like without setting it, I could. However, it does feel like slightly tacky, which leads me to my next thing, which was this foundation does transfer. It's not one of those foundations that actually like moves necessarily, but if I do that, you can see it on my fingers. It does say that it's medium coverage, medium buildable, which I do agree with. Today, I'm gonna kind of go with this, being that it's like, it's a medium kind of coverage, it's not really full. It is buildable, however, I would watch how much you build it, especially if you're gonna use a brush. Again, like the brush side just feels a little bit more heavy than the sponge side. And I think a sponge is gonna give you more of a natural finish. Depending on what sponge you use, I think you'll get more of a natural like look to your skin. Because even now, to me, I think as it's sort of settling in while I'm talking, I think it looks really good. It's still very dewy, so again, when they say matte, I'm like, is it though? Because you can still see all of my shine, and my Tatcha Silk canvas doesn't make my skin like shiny. It actually takes away a lot of the shine. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and we'll come back and have a little chat. As you guys may or may not know, when I do my product reviews, I like to try, like especially with foundations, I like to try different primers, different concealers, different products, just to get a well-rounded opinion of the product. While I was doing the actual application of the foundation, I did forget to read off the claims, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. It says that it's an oil-free, long-wearing liquid foundation that delivers buildable coverage and leaves a natural looking velvety matte finish for up to 24 hours. Normal, dry, combination, and oily skin. And of course, you guys know I tend to lean on the drier side of things. I did set my face with the Makeup Forever Duo Matte Powder, which sort of took away a lot of that shine, that dewiness that we saw earlier. And again, to me, today is more of a medium coverage kind of day, so I didn't layer this foundation on at all. So far that everything is on my face, everything went on very smoothly. I didn't have any rough patches trying to like blend out anything. Right now it is 11:32. I got started a little bit late, but I do have a few errands that I have to run, so this foundation will get put to the test. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, and I will see you guys at the end of the day. Alright guys, I am back, and this is what my face is looking like. It is now 7:58. We've had this foundation on for roughly 8 hours, right? Now I do want to mention that I did have like ramen and it kind of got on my face a little bit. So around this area, if I'm missing a little bit of makeup, that's more so what that is. But even on my nose right here, like I'm missing a whole bunch of foundation. It's oily in this area and it's oily right here. Which you guys know, like I'm not actually mad at my face right now. I'm not mad at the dewiness. There are other aspects of this foundation that I'm not a fan of, which I'll get to in just a second. It is one of those foundations, the more you build, the more you feel it. Even right now with all of my oils sort of coming through, although I don't mind the look of it, I'm not a fan of the way that it feels. It's slightly, like it feels oily, if that makes sense. Now I will say, initially putting this foundation on, it is very soft, very comfortable. It does do a really good job of kind of blurring out your pores. It kind of blurs your pores out in a way that's natural, I guess would be the best way to say it. I know everybody's natural is a little bit different, but for me, especially today, doing just like a light layer, it still blurred really well, but it wasn't like overdone to the point where I didn't feel like I looked like myself, if that makes sense. There are some foundations out there that blur your skin really well, but it's to a point that it just makes your skin look fake. And I don't think that this is one of those. I think this is like a natural soft coverage, soft blur kind of situation, and I really do like that about it. With that being said, I have tried this foundation for a while now. And originally when I tried it, I didn't have as much eczema as I do now. And I liked it more when my skin was clear than I do with my eczema. So around this part, I have like really dry skin, really bad eczema. Not so much on my cheeks lately, but mostly just around my mouth. And this foundation accentuates it in just the worst way. It sort of clings to my dry spots. It makes everything more pronounced. For me, the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation is one of those foundations that can sort of mask this completely, and it blurs everything together so you barely even notice that I have like little dry spots, whereas this one just makes it like pop in a way that's really unflattering on my skin. For this foundation, about the 6th hour is when I really started to feel it. Earlier I kind of mentioned that like the side with the sponge felt a little bit more comfortable than the side with the brush. However, right now everywhere that I'm oily feels heavy. I do feel like if I take a powder it's still going to be heavy, but just for the sake of being fair, I'm going to take a powder to try to blot. So now this is my face after powdering, and honestly it really doesn't look that bad. Now minus the part where my eczema is, everything else looks pretty good. But that's the thing, like I said, when I was trying this originally I didn't have like the same dry skin problems. So I'm not mad at the foundation as a whole, but just like for me, the Giorgio Armani covers it up a little bit better. So if I'm gonna recommend one over the other, it would definitely be that one, especially if you have the same skin concerns. For the Throwback Thursday, was it just hype portion? While I can understand why some people would like this foundation, I just feel like it's not worth the $47. The only time I would really be able to use it is when my skin is clear. If I ever do completely go through this, I do not believe I'd rebuy this. So while I do think it's a good foundation, I don't think it was worth the hype that it got. So yeah. Alright guys, that's about it for me today. Hopefully this video was helpful. If so, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if the mood suits you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.